Hi guys, just putting out another wee video about the Hougoumont project, the 3 or 4 years long project. That feels like it's been that long anyway. So we looked at the comparison last time with the Sarissa one, which is this one, and the Hovels one. So obviously the chateau, the farm and the whole complex sits in a kind of bigger landscape. So what I'm trying to do was create some of that so we can do the assault on it. That's the main plan. So this is just an idea of the chateau complex itself and its kind of surrounds, kinda, and kind of bits and bobs of ideas, so we can get it all kind of, it should all piece together for like a game further down the line. So we might as well start at this side here. So what I've done is, what I'm going to try is, this is just some leftover vinyl you can see from, they had leftover from the bathroom or something like that. It's a bit muddy because the dog walked all over it and it was rolled up in the shed. But I'm going to use the underside, and we're going to texture this to use to make some of the roads inside the kind of farmyardy bit as well. I mentioned before that the Hovels one has that inside, so what we'll do is we'll not texture it with sand, but we'll just grade it with the airbrush and try and get a kind of dark texture into there. And this area out the front, which will be, it'll see a lot of action, this area here, with this attack on the kind of south gate. Defenders here in the kind of gardener's garden, shooting down on here. There's a lot of artwork and images about this kind of stuff. So this will be an area that will feature in some games. And another area that will, which definitely need to kind of make, is I just put those poplar trees in just because I had them there, but they might not be that. But I do like the little bit of height they give. But anyway, so yeah, this road up the side here, and the little gate that we need to put in where clay comes out, and this whole area here will be the cottage garden. But this area here again, will be quite an interesting area, because people are going to have to either come around the flank to get to the north gate or trundle up this side. We'll see how they get on with that, but that's quite an important area, the kind of gardeners, the market garden, kind of cottage garden in here. So we've got that to do, which we'll texture. We might just trim this off here, but we might keep this road section in and texture that up as road, and we'll just use it to probably match the last valley roads, which we've got quite a few of. So that'll come round so you can get into the north gate, and then it'll link up and head away up to the ridge that way. And down here, similar situation, we'll have something coming round here, heading off, and then something turning in there with maybe pop a bit of green there or something, or a bit of shrub or something, just something low just to give it a bit of texture and a bit of depth. I think we can get a lot of that with the airbrush, which will be sweet. The gardener's actual garden itself, this is just something that we threw together for a game that'll improve. I'm not too sure if he grew flowers and that in there, or if he was actually involved in the market garden over there, so might not need any need to grow vegetables. He might not have any need to grow flowers when he's got this on his doorstep. We could do a bit more research onto that there. That's not a problem. And here, we discussed this last time too, because from here, the Hovels one has this balustrade that runs up here. So, I don't know if you can see that there. So that balustrade kind of runs up there. We've got a high wall on the inside there with the Sarissa kit here, which we'll probably maintain. But yeah, this balustrade running up, we'll try to make something to do with that. Don't know how we're going to do that yet, but it's kind of I think it's quite an important feature, so it'll kind of have to go in. Here again, we'll have the lino, the underside of the lino. We'll texture that up in the kind of colour of the paths, which I'm not sure what they'd be. some of the sources say gravel, but there is definitely sections of turf, so we'll get some just plain MDF and just have that flocked and lying down on top of the kind of sandy coloured spray underneath that. Some down there as well, down towards the orchard. We'll maybe get a line of some turf bits up there, which again we'll just do on MDF and we'll just lay them on top. So basically the whole thing will be covered in a sand texture, and then we'll just lay these on. We talked about these in a really early video, which are just MDF with some pan scourers and heavy on the kind of really fine turf foliage. We still got to work on these two. We need some kind of soil medium in there, and this is just, again, it was just practice with mucking about with different stuff. So that's just chopped up doormat into strips and then the coloured flock on top. But again, it's we could change them up. See, the whole idea with this was supposed to, it all wanted to be low so that it could take figs on it and they can all move over the top, because I mean the whole idea was to be playing, it was for black powder and stuff like that, but we found that with the best will in the world, black powder just can't do this. I don't think it was ever really meant to do all these kind of conflicts in this kind of environ where it's a bit tight and stuff. So it suits a more skirmishy kind of game, which we'll go into later on. Did put a little fountain in there, right in the middle, which is just I think this was actually a Gangs of Rome thing. But I did hear somewhere about somebody somewhere says there's a fountain in it. I would imagine it would have been drunk dry with people's canteens, even if it did exist. It would be cool to find it. You could find, I wonder if you could find these paths. You could probably strip turf and actually find the layout of this stuff, which would be sweet. But that's who knows when or if that'll ever happen. But I mean, this isn't even as big as it should be. It should be bigger still than this, but just for table size, because we've got to remember as well, over here, way out to the sofa out here, beyond, is all the orchard. Way over there it'd be the end of the orchard, so you got to kind of keep it a bit real, otherwise things just will tend to get out of hand. Which I don't know, they kind of already are getting out of hand, but aye, so that's where we are at this at the moment. We've got all Chris's walls, got a lot of them, and these are the ones that have the battle damage in them that's removable, and the loopholes in as well, so all adds to the kind of flavour of the defenders. But these would be eminently usable for anything else. All this, we've just got quite a lot. But you can kind of see the whole complex from here, and you can see there the poplar trees right at the end. They do add a bit of height. Obviously we have the orchard where the camera's sitting here, and up the back there's a big thick hedge down here as well, which we'll either make that or buy that in and see how that goes. But that's quite an important feature as well for coming in through the back. Same as getting in through the north gate, way off of the ridge coming down into there is another important feature. And down here, I think what we'll do is trim this off. Maybe trim that off, or paint. Could even paint that as a kind of rough, scrubby kind of colour as well, because this is obviously the killing ground here. And then the hedge will run along here, a big thick hedge along there. Because you've got to remember, in gaming terms, you've got to be able to make it in one bound or one move, otherwise you're going to just get shot to bits on the way in. So you can see the kind of table. This whole thing here is on a 6x4. So if you can imagine, that's one 6x4. We need orchard, important feature. Coming through in here, important. Battering through the hedge across the killing ground, another important bit. Fighting around this gate, important. And obviously flanking through the market garden, kitchen garden through there. So it has to the whole thing has to kind of sit on probably 3 6x4s, with this in the kind of the middle on its lino mat, if you know what I mean. But aye, so that's where we are. So there's lots to kind of sort out to make it look the part. But when you've come this far and it's taken this long, might as well just spend an extra bit of time and kind of get it as good as possible. Aye. So we've got all the chimneys and that are off. They're going to be painted the brick colour anyway, so they're all off. We've got this all to re-highlight. We've got more whitewash to put on there. We've got some weathering and things to put up here, you know, where the moisture kind of creeps up the wall a little bit. We've got that to do. Texture in the kind of farmyardy area over the back. And then I think we'll draw it out so that we don't kind of have so that we can have the kind of sandy looking imitation gravel paths with the little turf strips, but that balustrade. So there's still loads to do. It's where to kind of start, really. Well, we started with this, but where the hell do you go now? Got to kind of prioritise getting a few bits and bobs done, I suppose. Concentrate on this area here so we can start gaming with it, I suppose. Which ties into our next kind of project, the next section of videos. So, aye. So I hope it's not looking too bad. It was all a bit of a learning process. I'd never seen anybody kind of try to make these things before, the kind of parterre hedges and stuff like that. But they had to be robust, and they have to take a pound, and you can see even little bits of flock coming off. So we need to maybe give them a really good soak in with something, some kind of flock adhesive-y kind of thing. There is some on the market. The Woodland Scenics one's good. Luke's APS one, if he's still going, was a decent one and all, so we can look at that. But aye, lots to do. The walls all need weathered as well. They've just been very basically done. So aye, a lot of work to do on them. A lot of work on everything. But we'll get there. But anyway, so aye, that's where we are. So that's the Hougoumont complex without the orchard, without the garden on, with a little bit of the kiln ground. But yeah, exciting times. It should look really braw when it's done, like. When it's done. See you in 5 years. Nah, hopefully not 5 years. But we'll see how we get on. But yeah, I'll crack on with some bits, and we'll see you on the next one at some point. Thank you very much. See you later.